So we're now in the monocots, and we're going to do a family that we've already discussed a fair bit, and it's the most diverse family of flowering plants. An incredible diversity and a fascinating family, and I'm not going to cover it all right now, except to say there's about 28,000 species, the most diverse family of plants in the world. Amazing diversity of orchids. It's inspired many, many people with their beauty and the craziness and the kind of sort of decadent beauty of the orchid flower has inspired lots of art and people to go chasing rare orchids all across the world. And it's definitely an inspirational family. Part of this crazy amount of diversity is really hard to find because they're often epiphytes. So epiphyte means grows on a plant, epi on top of phyte plant. And often many species are in the tops of tropical trees throughout the neotropics and the paleotropics. And these very rare orchids are very seldom encountered, and only when branches of the trees fall or there's some other way that botanists get up into the canopy that you actually can observe many of these species. They have this crazy special relationship with fungi that we'll cover in other labs later on in the term. We've talked about it a little bit already. And they have this very typical zygomorphic, bilaterally symmetric flower that I'll explain more in a second. And deceptive pollination is common, which we've also talked about already. And many species have this kind of bulb at the base, above ground at the base. Not all. Sometimes there's a pseudobulb and sometimes there's no bulb at all. But when you see that bulb, it's very characteristic of orchids. So the floral morphology, we're in the monocots now. So as you might remember, parts of threes instead of parts of four multiples of fours and fives. And the perianth in orchids is whorled, not spiral. And so even though they might look similar, there are sepals, which are the three that are lower down on the stem, and then petals. And the bottom petal is modified into this sometimes very elaborate structure called a labellum. And that's the basic floral structure. You have the pollinia, so there's kind of pollen plus a lot of stuff, which are deposited here. And you have this thing called the column, which is explained a little bit more here. So the column is here. You've got the stigma, anthers up there. The pollinia are deposited from there. This is the ovary, which you can't see on the screen right now. But this is the filaments and the stigma all fused to adnate together. The labellum is often really showy, and it's characteristics of the flowers of the sepals and petals that lead you to tell all of the genera apart and also all of the species apart. So that's orchids. Have a look at all of the ones that you see in front of you. They're an amazing family, and I hope you're looking at some beautiful ones right now.